I was standing in a parking lot at 39, staring at a $2,700 repair estimate on my phone, making a six-figure salary and completely certain I could not cover it. That was the moment I stopped pretending. On paper, I looked like I'd made it. In my body, I was broke, and I'd been broke for a decade. Here's what took me years to notice. The people who are actually secure about money almost never look it. They're not the loud ones with the new truck. They blend in, they wear the same coat for 3 winters, and they never talk about how they got there. I had one sitting right next to me, a coworker who made noticeably less than I did and never once looked panicked when a surprise bill landed. Same city, smaller paycheck, and somehow he had a cushion and I had a knot in my stomach. For a long time, I couldn't figure out what he knew that I didn't. Hold on to him. He comes back. When I finally asked him, the answer wasn't a raise or some investment I'd missed. It was 10 small habits, most of them borrowed from Japan, a culture that's quietly treated debt as a mistake and patience as a skill for generations. The quietly wealthy live on habits like these and almost never say them out loud. I'm going to. Here's the result first. I still make about the same money I did in that parking lot, and I'm not afraid of it anymore. The 10th habit is the reason the other 9 finally stuck, and one of them costs nothing and takes 20 minutes, the one almost everybody skips. We'll get there. First, the one that starts everything. Number 1, Kakeibo. It means household financial ledger, and it's just writing your money down by hand, a pen and a notebook, not an app syncing in the background while you ignore it. It was invented in 1904 by Hani Motoko, Japan's first female journalist, so ordinary households could see where their money actually went. A century later, it still beats the apps, for one boringly human reason. When you write a purchase by hand, you have to look at it. You can't pretend the 4th delivery order this week didn't happen. Within 2 months of doing this, the leaks I'd half known about turned into numbers I couldn't unsee, and the numbers changed my behavior on their own. Try it this week. No app, just a cheap notebook. Every dollar for 7 days. You'll feel exposed by day 3. That's the point. Number 2, Chokin. Pay yourself first, before the bills, before the wants, and automate it so willpower never has to show up. Watch what that's worth. Priya sets up a $150 automatic transfer at 25, earning about 7% a year after inflation, roughly the long-run average of the U.S. stock market. By 65, she's deposited $72,000 of her own dollars, and the account holds close to $394,000. Her coworker Dean, same salary, waits 10 years to start. He lands around $183,000. Skipping that first decade let Dean keep $18,000 he'd have deposited and cost him over $210,000 at the finish line. He never felt the price because waiting never sends a bill. Start at $5 a week if that's what's real. What matters is that it happens without you. Now, the part that stung. Remember the coworker who stayed calm on a smaller paycheck? When I finally asked him about money, I realized the gap between us was never income. It was habits. You've already seen 2 of his. Here's the 3rd, and it's the one that quietly fixed my grocery bill. Number 3, Mottainai. It's the small pang of waste, the word a Japanese parent says when a child leaves rice in the bowl. With money, it means using what you already have all the way to the end before buying more. The leftovers that become tomorrow's lunch. The jar in the back of the fridge that actually gets eaten. It sounds too small to matter, and that's exactly why it works. The waste was always too small to notice, and so was the spending that replaced it. I used to toss food and rebuy the same $5 things on a loop, never adding it up. Treating waste as a tiny loss worth avoiding dropped my grocery bill with 0 dramatic budgeting. For 1 week before you throw anything out or replace anything, ask if it has one more use in it. Half the time it does, and half of that is money. Number 4, Hodo-hodo, just enough. It's the exit from a treadmill you don't know you're on. A raise lands, and within 2 months, your spending rises to swallow it. Nicer car payment, bigger place, a few more subscriptions, and you're just as stretched at a higher salary. In 2010, Princeton researchers Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton studied hundreds of thousands of Americans and found day-to-day happiness rose with income only up to a point, then flattened. More money simply stopped buying more everyday joy. Later work argued about the exact curve, but the core held. Past a certain line, comfort stops scaling with the number. Hodo-hodo is deciding where your enough is on purpose. The move, after any raise, freeze your spending for 90 days and send the whole difference somewhere you can't casually swipe it. Long enough that it never gets absorbed, short enough that it never feels like punishment. Number 5, Oubaitori. From the 4 spring trees, cherry, plum, peach, apricot, each blooming on its own schedule, none wrong for not going first. It means stop measuring your life against someone else's. This isn't soft advice. Comparison is one of the most expensive habits there is because almost nothing we buy to keep up is for us. It's for the audience we imagine watching, the neighbor's truck, the coworker's vacation, the staged life on your phone, each one an invitation to spend money matching a life whose real price tag you never see. And you can't. The people who look most effortless with money are often the most stretched. I unfollowed a few accounts that reliably made me want things an hour later, and my impulse spending fell more than any budget ever cut it. Here's the twist, and it's the whole game. None of those first 5 habits is really about money. They're about noticing. The next 5 are different. These aren't things you do once. These are habits that do the work for you on the days you show up and the days you don't. If this is landing, take 1 second and subscribe. I make one calm, no shame money video like this every week. Now, the habit that makes fixing beat buying. Number 6, Kaizen. Improvement in steps so small, they're almost embarrassing. It's the antidote to every all or nothing plan that dies by February. Most people try to fix their money in one heroic leap, then quit the first time real life interrupts. Kaizen says save 1% more this month, not 10. 1, you won't feel it. Next quarter, 1 more. A step you don't notice is a step you don't quit. I raise my savings rate 1% every few months for 2 years, so gently my daily life never registered it and ended up saving a share of my income that would have terrified me on day 1. Pick one number this week and move it a single notch. Then leave it until it feels normal and nudge it again. Number 7, Kintsugi, my favorite. It's the old craft of mending broken pottery with gold, so the cracks aren't hidden but traced in bright seams, and the bowl ends up more valued than before it broke. Aim that at your money. The wobbly chair gets a screw, not a store run. The torn jacket gets a patch and becomes the one you reach for first. The budget that blew up in a rough month gets repaired, not abandoned in shame. Our whole culture trains us to replace the second something breaks because replacing feels clean and fixing feels like admitting you couldn't afford new. Kintsugi flips it. The repair is the point. Before you replace the next broken thing, ask, can this be mended for a fraction of a new one? Half the time, yes, and the money stays in your pocket with a small story attached. Number 8, Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing. This is the free one I promised you. The 20-minute habit almost everybody skips. It's slow, unhurried time among trees, doing nothing productive. No app, no ticket, no purchase. And it plugs one of the quietest leaks in a modern budget. When we're tired or bored, we scroll, we add to cart, we buy a small treat to feel something, and the receipts pile up where we don't look. But in 2010, researchers at Chiba University ran field studies across 24 forests and found that time among trees measurably lowered people's cortisol, the main stress hormone, along with heart rate and blood pressure versus time in the city. The free thing works on the exact wiring. The expensive thing only pretends to soothe. You don't need a real forest, a park, a riverbank, a street of trees. Next time you get the itch to buy something just to feel better, go outside for 20 minutes first before you open your phone. Usually the itch is gone when you're back. Number 9, Nemawashi. It describes loosening the soil around a tree's roots before you move it so it survives the transplant. Patient groundwork before a big decision. Most expensive mistakes happen fast and hot. You see it, feel the rush, sign that afternoon, then pay for years for 10 good minutes. My rule now, anything over a few $100s has to survive 30 days of me thinking about it before I'm allowed to buy it. Half the time, the urge quietly evaporates and I keep both the money and the calm. The other half, it survives and I buy with zero guilt because by then the decision has roots. If 30 days feels impossible, even sleeping 3 nights on it beats any budgeting app. The urge is loudest in the first hour. Give it air, and the thing you needed at 11 at night looks like a stranger's idea by breakfast. Number 10, Mono no Aware. And this is the one that made the other 9 stick. It's a tender awareness that nothing lasts. The cherry blossoms that open for barely a week are the classic image. It sounds like the opposite of money advice because the whole consumer world runs on the promise that the next thing will finally make you happy and keep you there. But when you really feel how temporary everything is, something loosens. You stop trying to buy permanence because there's none for sale. You stop chasing the upgrade that was always going to need its own upgrade in 2 years. The people I know who are truly calm about money aren't hungry in that endless way. They look around an ordinary kitchen on an ordinary evening and feel for a moment that it's enough. That feeling is the whole game, because someone who already has enough doesn't need to spin toward a finish line that keeps moving. That coworker, the calm one on the smaller paycheck, this was his real secret, not a raise. Enough. And that parking lot repair bill that convinced me I was broke on 6 figures, I covered it a year later without blinking. Out of money, these habits quietly built while I wasn't watching. So, tonight, before you go looking for the next thing that promises to complete you, look at what's already in front of you. The worn table, the people who won't be exactly this age next year, the bowl you fixed instead of tossing. That's the wealth this whole list has been pointing at the entire time. The habits just clear enough noise for you to finally see it. If you want the calm version of money, one video at a time, subscribe. That's the whole invitation.